April is Autism Awareness Month. It's a time to build awareness, raise money, and also ratchet up efforts to help people get the assistance that they need. And help is needed because things are actually getting worse instead of better. The Center for Disease Control says the prevalence of autism has doubled since 2004. Back then, 1 in 125 people born were on the spectrum. Now, it's 1 in 68. The CDC also says about 1% of the population has it, and that translates to about 3.5 million Americans on the spectrum. And my next guest started a group that is helping those with autism. Debbie Stone, founder of Pop Earth, a nonprofit that provides health and wellness options. Debbie, why don't you describe the day, I guess 2 days, once where you first had an inkling
Sure.
that there may be something with Dylan that you wanted to examine, and then when you got the diagnosis.
So thank you for having me, first of all. I think I noticed with Dylan that there was something wrong when he wasn't talking like the other kids. You know, my friends and I all had children around the same time. I was watching the other kids meet these milestones, and I found that he wasn't talking like he was supposed to. I raised that concern to the doctors, and you know, they basically said, well, you know, boys, they talk later, you know, you have to be a little patient. But then as time progressed and I really didn't see him beginning to speak, I started pushing a little bit more, and I did end up getting the diagnosis for him of PDD-NOS, which is pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. So at that time, that was kind of where everybody got diagnosed when they weren't 100% sure that it was autism. And
Dylan is right now, how
he's
old?
15.
And this was around 5 when he was formally diagnosed?
This formal diagnosis came at 5.
Okay. Now, I've spoken to a lot of parents with children on different ranges of the spectrum, but one of the common things is after they learn this, they're looking for information like you did yourself. But they quickly find that the support systems, not just from other parents and maybe some organizations, but through the towns or the schools, a lot of them aren't designed to really help, and insurance doesn't cover the breach as well.
That's
this
correct.
is really hard, or harder than it should be for a lot of parents, right?
That's 100% correct, and why I started Pop Earth. So there were a lot of things that I started doing with Dylan, dietary interventions, things to just help him with his day-to-day. And the more I found things that helped him, the more I saw that I had to pay for it out of pocket. And when you have a child with a special needs, there are so many other costs that you have to incur. And I said to myself, why isn't there something here to help parents like me bridge this gap?
And to give an idea for folks who don't know and haven't lived through this, the gap is, what's the right school for the child?
Correct.
How is the kid going to get to the school here? Will the town or the city be of any help? And a million other things that I'm sure I can't even articulate that you can. Just how challenging is it to put your, in this case, son in the right environment, and the town being a part of the solution instead of an impediment?
So you get this diagnosis, and then you're wondering, somebody just told you that your child is going to have a lifelong affliction. They don't know what caused it, and there's no cure. So that in itself is going to send you reeling. And you do, as a parent, that is your child. You're going to look for any way that you can to help them. For the most part, the counties and the state are very good with early intervention and doing those types of things. The problem that happens is that once you're through this early intervention and your child is getting older and older, it's like a pyramid, right? So there's a ton of help on the bottom, but as you get older, it trickles down. There's nothing really left as you get to over 21 for services.
Now, explain what the group does and how it kind of connects the dots between the states and obviously the families obviously in need.
Sure. So when we started in 2012, we were the first in the country to offer low-cost to free holistic health and wellness options for people with autism and any special needs. Our programs are inclusive, so we can have typical kids in our class, we can have cerebral palsy, we can have autism, Down syndrome. We've worked with people with spinal cord injuries. We basically run the gamut, and the beauty of it is that nobody's ever turned away based on an inability to pay. We do ask parents, if you want to have your child attend for free, you know, do a give back. So it's kind of a pay it forward. So if we need help at one of our events or with one of our classes, they can come in and assist as a volunteer.
Describe Dylan today, and also what your hopes and dreams are, because in a few years he's going to be an adult.
Of course. I don't even want to think about that right now, but Dylan is largely nonverbal. He has limited language to ask for something, but this back and forth that we're having, he can't have this back and forth conversation. That piece is missing. For the most part, he's happy. He loves his iPad and he loves music. I guess what I want for him is what every other parent wants for their child. I want him to be the best that he can be, and I want to be able to help to facilitate that. So whatever his outcome is later, I just want to know that I did everything that I could to make him be the best that he's going to be in this life.
So the conversation I've had with parents who have autistic children, as the kids get older, they say, okay, what happens when he's 18 or 21 or whatever the case may be, when he gets a job, who manages his money? What happens when he does actions or wants to do something that I can't control, when he's not, or she's not under my roof?
Sure.
What responsibility do I put on his sibling that is too much, or but yet the only loved one? What happens when I'm gone? You're a young person, but obviously these are conversations that happen in too many homes in this country, and obviously you must have thought about it.
Of course. I mean, I think every special needs parent thinks about what's going to happen when they're not here. And, you know, Dylan does have a younger sibling, Brandon, and it's not something that I really want to put on him. I mean, he's going to go off and, you know, get married and have his own family and his own life. And, of course, he loves his brother. So I think as a parent, it's best that you try to set yourself up for having as much help and as much backup as that child's going to need. I have a very large family, so, and they're all very involved with my son. So I think talking to a state planner, there are tons of special needs trusts. We have a program called Equal. So it's Educate, Question, Unite, Advocate, and Lead for Autism. And we have a lot of special needs attorneys that come in and can help families navigate that path. I'm going through it right now, and I can tell you it's a lot of paper, but you need to have that in place because you never know what the outcome's going to be.
What's your hope for your son beyond Dylan being a happy and well-adjusted person? Do you want him to live on his own? Do you want him to have his own job? These are obviously conversations that, for us that don't have autistic children, you want to give freedom, but obviously there's an acute concern you have for this child.
Sure.
As the real world isn't always a welcoming place.
No, it's not. And I think for Dylan, he is probably going to need assistance for the rest of his life. I would love it if he could live independently, but I really don't think that that's probably in the cards at this moment. I think I just want to make sure that he's safe and he's in an environment where he feels that love, acceptance, and inclusion that we preach at Pop Earth. I would really want that to be there for him. That's my hope. So however, which way that's going to manifest.
And we've put up the URL throughout this interview of your organization, Pop Earth, which certainly helps answer a lot of these questions and put people in the right lane. This June, you guys have an important event. Talk about that.
Yes, so Pop Earth is known for doing these over-the-top events. I think it's important for our sponsors and our donors and the people that support us to be able to come out and support us in a fun way. So this summer we're doing a summer kickoff on June 24th at Oheka Castle with 24 celebrity chefs, all from Food Network and the Cooking Channel. They all come down. They're wonderful people, these chefs. They donate their time. They prep, their staff comes out, and we're doing a barbecue and a music festival. So we'll have bands and DJs and a barbecue going on. All of our friends with special needs are welcome to attend. The only thing that we ask them to do is pre-register so they can come for free. And we're including all ages in it, so it'll be a fun time for families to come out and support the work that we do.
Well, it sounds like a great event. We've put up all the information on our screen for our audience as well. And your group does tremendous work. And this month, being Autism Awareness Month, the one thing I've gotten from these conversations is to ask questions. One size does not fit all for everybody here, but it takes advocacy, self-advocacy for your kid to really deal with sometimes some of the bureaucracy that you run into, and there's people like your group that are there to help. Debbie, good luck, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.